What is the BRR method? Why do people use it? And why is it one of the most common and popular ways of people recycling their funds in property to build a property portfolio? So BR is the buy, refurbish, and refinance method, or buy, refurbish, rent, refinance. And it basically, the reason it's so popular, common, and useful is it allows people, investors particularly, to buy rundown properties, renovate them. You're buying a rundown property for cheap, renovating it, having equity, and then refinancing it at the new increased value. And I'll run through a project figure-wise for you on this video, so you can understand why it's so effective and why we use it for our own portfolio and why we work with other people to build their portfolio using this exact strategy. So why do we use this strategy for ourselves and clients? Well, we're located in South Wales in the UK. Now, South Wales is known for cheaper property, not cheap, but cheaper properties. Now, for a bit of context, you could probably buy a house in a fairly reasonable location in South Wales for about 100 grand. And the reason I say this is to give you a bit of context as to the deal breakdown I'm about to present on this video, which will outline how a BRR deal is structured and why it's so beneficial for investors and why we utilize it with them and for our portfolio. It kind of breaks it down as to why it's so effective. Okay, so if you've got a location, a street in South Wales with properties that are worth £100,000, which again, it varies. Streets, some are worth 120, some with 80, 90, etc. But as a medium, for this example, you've got a street that's worth all these 100 houses that are worth 100k, right? They're in done up, nice condition, but there's one property on that street that's run down. So if we were to approach that street and we had all these houses that are worth 100k located on that street, what we would do is see that one rundown property that is horrible. It's in poor condition. There's windows missing. There's floorboards missing. There's no running water in there. There's just completely run down and completely dated. What we would do for ourselves and our clients is, obviously clients being investors, is literally purchase a property for £50,000. Again, random example. And then what we would do is spend £25,000 on the renovation, hypothetically, just again for the example, which means that our money into it to purchase it at this stage, for example, would be £75,000. So 50k for the purchase, 25k for the renovation. Our money into it, we're not talking about legal fees, stamp duty at this stage, to keep it simple, would be 75 grand. Now, if you've got all your money into it, 75 grand, and all the other properties on that street worth £100,000, you've got 25k of immediate equity there in that property that you're buying. So by using this method to recycle your funds, you can see why it's so effective for investors. It builds your portfolio, builds your cash flow, and builds your equity. And now what I'm going to touch on is the second way to use the BR method, which isn't that commonly touched on, which is using turnkey properties. A turnkey property is a property that's already in good condition, that doesn't need a full renovation. And you can use the same BR method to recycle your funds using those. The less common way of seeing BR is the turnkey. So what you can do on a turnkey is you can, let's say you approach the same street and you've got hundreds of properties on that street with £100,000. If you've got a seller, an owner of one of those properties that is desperate to sell, they want to get out, they've got a mortgage on a property of 75 grand, but they've got financial issues and they're really struggling to sell, we can approach that person to help them, and we can literally buy the property off them for 75 grand. So what you're doing is saving to do any other refurb, because you've already got a renovated property. It's got good electrics, good central heating. It's a great family home already. You're just purchasing it at a significant discount, so that you've got the discount without any renovation. Now the beauty with this is the equity. That is really what you want. There's no refurb to be done. You're buying it for 75 grand. You've got 25 grand of immediate equity there. And of course, the reason this is so great is that you can purchase it and then pretty much, depending on your lender, again, this is, talk to your broker about this, but what we do for ourselves and our clients is we get short-term bridging, for a different video. I'll come into that, but for a different video. We get short-term bridging lending on that property to purchase it at 75 grand. And then very, very soon after, we'll look to get a refinance, a remortgage on that property at the 100k that it's actually worth, which means we'll still get a 75% loan to value mortgage on it, but a lot sooner. So we're going to buy it for 75 grand using the short-term bridging finance. Again, I'm sure there's other YouTube videos on that, and I'll do a YouTube video on bridging as well separately. So we can purchase that property within about 8 weeks-ish, roughly, depending on the property and ourselves and our client. And then what we can then do is get it tenanted very quickly because the property is already in good condition. You're buying a property that is a lovely family home already. We get a tenant in there to tenant it, to get it cash flowing. You've already bought the equity in there. You've already got the equity from day one. And then talk to your broker. You can find out how soon after you can get a remortgage on that property to then get the 75% loan to value mortgage on it to pull your money back out that way, if that makes sense. So you can literally rinse and repeat the exact same process, but without any refurbishment. Now, the reason this is more difficult is because investors love rundown properties because only investors are going to buy them. Whereas if you're buying a renovated property, something that's nice, it's harder to actually secure these with a reasonable amount of equity in them because first-time buyers are more interested in them. You're gonna have a whole market full of people looking for these sort of properties, so it's harder to deal with. But if you can secure them, it works also. So I hope this video was helpful. Obviously, we've gone over the 2 ways that you can use the BRR method. There's going to be other ways you can do it, but those are the main 2. And I think the second method is a lot less known. And I'm not even sure if I've explained it very well in this video, but I can repeat it over different videos because we've even this week it's current July in 2024, and we've got a few deals going to legals with some of our clients already with these exact sort of deals because it saves doing any renovation on properties. It saves a lot of time and hassle with any builders. It's a lot simpler process. And then we go from there. So like I said, we've got a full end-to-end bespoke property investment service in South Wales where we literally build people's property portfolios for them in the UK. So if that's of interest to anybody and they want to use our full service where we literally provide the sourcing for a property, conveyancing, refurbishment, if they want to flip it, staging and reselling, it's a full end-to-end service for everything. I'll provide our website in the bio and description, and I'll put the socials on there as well. If that's of interest to anyone and they've got money in the bank that they want to work with, we've worked with hundreds of people now who want to build their portfolio, and we're proud just to say a lot of the people are repeat clients. They've come to us 2, 3, 4 times, and they've got a portfolio of that many properties in their portfolio, just working through us. And also our own portfolio. We're really expanding and scaling our portfolio this year and remaining years. And hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative as well. And be sure to subscribe and like it, because then the more that you can see, the more I can kind of get the message out there and hopefully get these educational videos out there to the masses and build from there. So have a good one.